think the reason most people get started online is because at the end of the day, they just want a better life. I want you to imagine something for a minute. So you're at work and the phone rings, and it's this voice you don't recognize, and it's this mysterious stranger. And the stranger says, you know, man, I know you really don't like this job very much, so I'll tell you what I've done for you, is I've just gone ahead and made it so you can quit your job. So now all your bills are taken care of, man. It's cool. You can go ahead and go home. You can start focusing on the lifestyle that you've always wanted to live. And before you have a chance to say thank you, the mysterious stranger hangs up. He's gone. So you get home, and you're like, man, this is so great, you know? And you're doing all kinds of fun stuff, and you're doing what you really love to do. Everything's awesome. And you're driving down the road one day, and your cell phone rings in the car, and you've got this, you say hello, and once again, it's this voice. It's now sounding a little bit more familiar. And it's the mysterious stranger again. And the mysterious stranger says, you know, I know you've kind of wanted a new car. And I think you should have one. There's no point in you going around and having a car that you don't really enjoy driving. So I've taken care of it. I'm going to go ahead and get you this new car. And you're like, you got to be kidding me. And before you have a chance to say thank you, the phone line goes dead, the mysterious stranger's gone. You drive to your house, right there in the driveway is this beautiful brand new car, you know, that you've had your eye on for a long time. You're like, this mysterious stranger person is the coolest person ever. You know, so you've got this awesome car, you're able to quit your job, and you're like, this is so cool. And you're thinking, kind of wouldn't mind having a new house, because right when you're driving down the road in that new car, you know, you pass this killer house, and you're like, man, that house is pretty cool. So you don't really think a lot of it. You go back home, you're watching a little TV, phone rings, you're like, hello? Once again, now the familiar voice of the mysterious stranger. And the mysterious stranger says, you know, man, you're right. That house was real cool. And you're like, yeah, dude, it was real cool. And he goes, you know, I think you and your family deserve the best. You can have anything in this life you want. I've gone ahead and I bought the house for you. And you're like, no way. And he's like, yeah, totally. All you got to do, walk over to the house. The key and the deed to the house are going to be under the doormat. So you're like, okay, I'll try it out. And before you have a chance to say thank you, once again, mysterious stranger's already hung up. So now, just in this matter of a few days, this mysterious stranger gave you a brand new life. He got rid of the job you didn't enjoy, gave you the freedom to pursue any kind of lifestyle you wanted to, gave you a new car, gave you the house you've always wanted. So a lot of people watching, you know, they might be like, well, great, you know, you're over here talking about a mysterious stranger that doesn't exist. But what if I were to tell you that mysterious stranger totally does exist? See, what people really fail to realize is that your email list and your customer base are that mysterious stranger. If you think about it, everyone that we know in the internet marketing world, everyone who's got a really cool lifestyle or a really cool house or whatever, I know personally for me this is true, all that stuff is bought and paid for by email subscribers and customers, period. When we accept that fact, it often leads to what is probably the biggest myth and biggest misconception in internet marketing today. Let's park and go inside, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by this. All right, so here it is, the single biggest myth in internet marketing. And that myth is that the money is in the list. I know you've heard it 1,000 times, right? The money's in the list, the money's in the list. And it's complete and total bullshit. Think about this. If that were the case, then the richest people in the world would be spammers, wouldn't they? Because they have the biggest lists. You know, I mean, you've got some guy who goes and buys a CD-ROM with 40 billion email addresses on it. Well, if the money were in the list, then that guy would immediately be a multimillionaire, if not richer, wouldn't he? So clearly, the money's not in the list. So then that leads us to think about it a little bit more, and then we say, well, maybe the money is in the relationship with the list, right? And that's getting closer to the truth, but it's not entirely true. Because we need to think, well, what creates this relationship with the list, right? I mean, it doesn't just appear magically. So I think the truth of the matter is, if you really think about it accurately, the real truth is that the money is in the value that you provide to the list, because the value that you provide to the list creates that relationship with your list. It creates the trust that they have in you. It creates that goodwill, and it causes them to trust you and to like you and to want to buy from you. And if you think about it even more, the ultimate truth in business long term is that we are paid in direct proportion to the amount of value that we provide to the marketplace. And I think it's important, so important really, you should write it down. Our income is directly proportional to the amount of value that we provide to our marketplace. Now, sure, sometimes someone will have a quick hit, you know, and they'll make a little bit of money and then they'll vanish because they haven't provided a lot of value to their marketplace. But for lasting, long, enduring success financially, you have to constantly be providing value to your marketplace. And if you do, you'll be compensated for it well. So what I want to do is I want to give you 5 pillars to create value in your marketplace, to bond with any list of any size, and to ultimately make sales. Because I think a big question you might have is, well, how do I provide value and sell at the same time? A lot of people have it in their head that they think, well, if I'm selling, then I'm not providing value and I'm doing people wrong. Actually, the opposite is true. And I call these the 5 pillars of kindness. So I'm going to walk you through them. And what these are going to do is they're going to show you how to provide immense value to your subscribers and to your list, and also sell them a lot of stuff in the meantime. So step number 1 is to know their desired outcome, right? It's very important for you to know your market, and even more important for you to know where it is that they want to go, what it is that they want to accomplish, and then understand how you can help them, and of course, actually help them, right? We really get paid well for helping people. That's part of this whole delivering value thing. So step 1 is know their desired outcome. So step 2 is to overcome their skepticism with something that I call shock and awe coolness. So let's examine the first part of that step, was to overcome their skepticism. Now, you and I both know, especially online, right, that people are skeptical, perhaps now more than ever, because they're given all kinds of empty promises. They see a lot of hype. You know, I mean, good Lord, the regulatory agencies are coming out of the woodwork right now because so many shenanigans have been perpetuated within the marketplace, not just our community, but the entire global marketplace online. Shenanigans everywhere. So part of that is to overcome their skepticism. Understand that people are going to be skeptical, naturally and as a result of their past experiences. So the way you overcome it is with the second part of the step 2, which is shock and awe coolness. And here's what I mean by that. When someone comes into your funnel and joins their list, the only reason they're joining their list is because they want to get one step closer, or perhaps many steps closer, to their ultimate desired outcome we talked about in step 1, right? So the best thing we can do to overcome their skepticism is to demonstrate that we can help them via shock and awe coolness. So what shock and awe coolness is, really, essentially, is you putting your best foot forward. And I think if you look back at the video that I released before releasing this one, I gave away one of my most effective and revered and famous cut and paste marketing campaigns called the 4-Day Cash Machine. Well, what that did was it led with my best foot forward, right? I overcame skepticism by shock and awe coolness by giving people a tool that they could use immediately in their business. The 4-Day Cash Machine is something that people can literally apply to any niche and generate sales really, really rapidly while maintaining a high level of goodwill in their subscriber base. So if you want to overcome skepticism through shock and awe coolness, you need to do something similar, right? Lead with your best foot. It works every time, and of course, it helps people. Now remember, our equation we had earlier, we are paid in direct proportion to the amount of value that we provide to our marketplace. Well, that's a classic example. You give people the most valuable stuff that you can right up front, and you will be compensated for it. So step number 3 is to demonstrate that they can achieve their outcome. So remember, step number 1, we know the desired outcome of our marketplace, right? Step number 2, we're giving them something to help them move towards that desired outcome. Step number 3 is to show them that yes, they can do it. One of the biggest problems, especially plaguing our community, and really plaguing any community where someone wants to achieve a desired result to like better themselves in some kind of way, is that deep down inside, there's a voice telling them that they can't do it, right? The self-doubt really ruins a lot of people's ambition and sabotages their plans. So now we're at step 3, right, of the 5 pillars of kindness, and that is to demonstrate that they can do it. So the only reason someone's going to opt in to your list, for example, is they want to move one step or many steps closer to that desired outcome that we identified in step 1, right? But a big problem and a common problem and a normal problem that lots of people have in any niche is this self-doubt, this voice of self-doubt that says, you know what, I just can't do it. I'm not good enough for whatever reason. And people don't believe in themselves. And it's normal, and it's up to us to prove to them that yes, they really can do it. And one of the most effective ways to demonstrate that they can do it is to show stories of past successes of other people just like them who have had similar results. So I want you to remember the 4-day cash machine. If you remember when I released that video, I actually kind of had to sell the fact that I was giving that away for free to get people to take action. And one of the things that I did was to show the past experiences of other people who had used the 4-day cash machine. If you'll remember, I even showed where people had written in who had tiny little neglected lists of under 500 people who were still able to use the 4-day cash machine to make really fast and easy sales while maintaining and building more goodwill with their lists. So you need to do the same thing in your marketplace. Demonstrate that your prospects can achieve the results, and through your actions, show that you can help them. So step number 4, and this is really important, is that you don't want to just show them that they can do it. You want to give people the tools up front to help them on their way. So again, let's go back to the 4-day cash machine example. Obviously, I'm serving the internet marketing niche, right? And obviously, I'm giving these videos away as a way to generate goodwill and to help people for my upcoming launch of List Control. So the first thing I gave away was the 4-day cash machine. Well, that was a tool that someone could put to work right now in their business to go ahead, generate sales, and create goodwill in their list. They didn't have to use any creativity. It's been proven in niche after niche after niche. They're really literally able to take the campaign templates that I created for them, watch a little instructional video I made for them, and put it to work. So that's one example. Another example, as you're going to see in our next video that'll be released shortly, where I'm going to be giving away even more tools that actually help you build your own list. So I want you to contemplate right now, what tools can I give people in my community? What tools can I give my prospects right now that they can use today to get one step closer to that desired outcome? Remember, they're not on your list for fun, right? They're joining your list because they want to get somewhere. They want to move forward. So it's up to us as our market leaders to give people these tools to help them on their way. So that's step 4. So now let's talk about step 5. And step 5 is where a lot of people really drop the ball. And I think it's because they get freaked out. So steps 1 through 4, what we've really been doing are critical pieces of the equation. That is generating goodwill by helping others get what they want. And if we do that all day, we're doing great, right? But at the end of the day, we still need to sell some things and make some money to feed our families and support our lifestyles. So that brings us to step number 5, which is to motivate them to go further. And the way you do that is you simply say, listen, you know what? As you can tell by the stuff that I've just shared with you and the tools that I've given you, that you can do this. And I have something that I think will really help you accelerate your results. And then you simply make an offer to them, do it kindly, give them a good reason to take action quickly, and provide a rock solid guarantee. And if you do that, and you do that consistently, and you do that with your prospects and customers' best interest in mind, and you genuinely deliver value to your marketplace, you can and will be
extremely successful, and you don't have to have a giant list to do so. As a matter of fact, you might not know this, but when I first created Mass Control, I had been away from the internet marketing community for about a year. I took a year off and I developed a dog training business, which I later sold, but it was $1 million a year business. So my list had dwindled down to only a few thousand people, and I rarely emailed them. However, because I deliberately started to generate goodwill with that list by doing the 4 steps that we outlined, I was able to have a multi-million-dollar launch of Mass Control and grow that community up to over 100,000 people. As a matter of fact, just last year, for my own product sales, my company did over $8 million in revenue, really as a direct result of following these 5 pillars of kindness that I'm sharing with you. So you can definitely do this. You don't have to resort to any kind of weird, unpleasant sales techniques. All you do at the end of the day is just help people and then offer to sell them stuff that'll help them even more. It's a simple equation. So as you've probably ascertained, right, I'm in the middle of a big launch. And the launch is for a product that's called a list control. And it's a 2-sided product. The first side of the product shows you the right way how to build a list. And it shows you how to do it in a way that's helping other people the whole time and in a very ethical, fun, and cool way. All right, so we're going to focus on that in the first half of list control. The second half, I give you actual campaigns that I've used and my high-paying clients have used to sell a tremendous amount of goods and services, all the while maintaining an extremely high level of goodwill within their communities so that their customers and prospects look forward to doing business with them over and over again. So this is a live class. It'll be taught online plus live in-person phone calls from me. It's limited attendance. It'll probably sell out because I'm very fortunate. I have the support of a lot of good partners and I have a great reputation in this industry. So if you'd like to skip all of the pre-launch shenanigans and not have a lot of time pressure and everything, you're more than welcome to get on the early bird list, which you'll see below this video. When you're on the early bird list, I'll essentially open my class up early to you before I do for the general public. And regardless of whether or not you decide to do that, or regardless of whether or not you decide to invest in list control, I'd like to sincerely thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch these videos. I hope they've helped you. I know you can find success if you follow the steps I've outlined for you, and I look forward to seeing you soon. See you later.